Making coffee. So this is my new way of making coffee. Got an electric stove, so I don't have gas. And if we look, what I've done is I turned one of the burners on to 3 out of 10. Don't want it too high. 3 seems to work okay. I might try like 2.5 later. But that's essentially the temperature you want to start heating it up at. So I'll heat this up. I'll let it get warm. It shouldn't be glowing red. If it's that hot, it's way too hot. Now, while this is warming up, I can now start preparing the Bialetti Moka Express. So this is my little coffee maker. Comes from Italy. It's a very common thing. Comes in various sizes. You can get a 1 cup. This is a 3 cup. There's a 6 and a 12 cup as well. Same thing. Look, they look identical until you put something beside it, but they're just different sizes. Now in this one, the way it works is you have the upper chamber where the boiled coffee will be. And what happens is down below there's going to be water. In the middle there's going to be coffee grounds. The water will get pushed up through the coffee grounds and come bubbling out this spout and fill up this bowl. If we have a look, you can unscrew the top and you can see that there's a filter on the bottom and a little gasket to hold them together so it doesn't leak out the sides. And then on the bottom, you've got a little pressure valve. So that way, if something gets clogged and it doesn't boil up into the top, the thing's not going to explode on you. The likelihood of that happening, though, I've been told is very rare, but let's do it anyways. This here is where you're going to pack the coffee grounds in, and you want to pack it till they're smooth on the top here. And then inside is where you're going to put water. So you can see that the overpressure valve is there. You want to put it so that the water comes up just to the overpressure valve. You can put in less, but then you would just get less coffee. I like to get as much as I can per brew because these things are a pain to clean. So I'm going to fill this up and then we'll continue. Okay, so I filled up the lower half just below the overpressure valve. You can use different types of water, cold water, room temperature, hot water. I've been told the entire unit heats up, which can cook the coffee grounds. So you want it so that the water is at room temperature, so that way it'll heat up and boil faster, and then there's less chance that the coffee grounds are going to be getting cooked. Now, the hard part next is filling up the receptacle for the coffee grounds. So this whole thing is going to fit down in here. Before you put it in there, though, you want to fill this up with coffee grounds until it's like smooth across the top. I put it over a plate. That way I can fill it up with coffee grounds, overfill it, pack it down, overfill it, pack it down. The more you pack it down, the more coffee grounds you get in here, the stronger your coffee is going to be. So you might want to pack it lightly, or you might want to pack it really heavily. I like really strong coffee, so I try and pack a lot in. And then you want to smooth it off. And when you smooth it off, you're going to have coffee grounds spilling over. You want to smooth off the rim. And so I have it being caught on a plate, and then I'll scoop it all up on the plate and put it back in the bag. Okay, we're back. Let's see. So this is my little receptacle. I have the plate underneath it, and then the coffee grounds over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling this up, and we'll see about getting this nicely filled with coffee. I'm not too overly concerned about spilling stuff because, like I said, there's a plate underneath catching all the little extra. Now, some people suggest like putting it mounded up a little so that way it's a little higher. When you screw it in, it'll press up against the bottom of the other side, and then squish it in even more, so you don't have to squish it quite as hard here. Now, this is where things get a little trickier. If we look along the top here, you can see that on this side, the rim is covered with coffee grounds because it hasn't quite wiped over. So what I do is I tend to just wipe it everywhere, so that way I see a little bit of rim showing everywhere. And then pack this down some more. but I want to have metal there because the metal rim is going to push up against the gasket in the bottom, and that's going to give me a tighter seal and more pressure. More pressure means it cooks better. So get rid of all the little extra bits. Take this, drop it in here. Take the top, put it on. I find if you turn it backwards a couple of times and then you'll feel it click. There we go. And then we turn it forward. And I get it nicely snugged up. Once I do that, I like to leave the lid open and then put it on the burner. So let's go do that next. Okay, so we take the coffee. The burner, the coil in the center, there's not really a lot of coil there. The coil's more off to the side, so I just put it off to the side. You also want to make sure the plastic handle is not over the burner element, because it's plastic, it will melt. And then we just want to leave that. I'm not going to sit here video recording this. It takes between 3.5 to 5 minutes, but in about the 3 to 4 minute mark, this will start bubbling over and you'll start seeing coffee come out of that little hole. So I'll be back when that starts. Okay, we're back. It just started bubbling out, so we can watch this. I still got the plate I was using to catch the extra coffee grounds because this unit is going to be really hot, so you don't want to put it on anything that's going to melt, like a plastic counter or something. So we just sit here and we watch the coffee bubble out. Some people say, you know, take it off right away so you don't want it to cook. Let it bubble over, but I find it cools down pretty rapidly. So I usually let it until it starts to just sputter, and as soon as it starts sputtering, I take it off, and then I put it on the plate, and then 2 or 3 seconds later it stops. And there we go. Okay, so now we just leave it, give it a couple of seconds. At this point, I can close the lid. One thing I've done by accident, grabbed onto the handle. This part right here is metal. That's really hot right now, so make sure you only grab the plastic. Don't grab anything extra, otherwise you will burn yourself. Okay, so the next thing we do is we bring it over and we pour it into my mug. Now, this is supposed to produce 3 cups of coffee, and if you look, there's not really a lot in the mug. That's because it's supposed to be 3 cups of espresso-like coffee. It's not quite an espresso, but it's espresso-like. So it's 3 small shots of coffee. If you wanted it to be more like a American coffee, you can just simply add more water in and then stir it. I don't use milk in my coffee, but I've been told if you are going to be putting milk in it, warm the milk up before you add it to the coffee, because you don't want to put cold milk into a steaming hot cup of coffee. Otherwise, the milk will probably curdle. And that is me making coffee.